Dela's Voice has been brought to you by Pro Level Entertainment Foundation. What makes live shows so special is that interaction between the viewer and the host and the guest, whether it's through the chat or the live phone calls. This connection is created because people are allowed to share their experiences, their feelings, their thoughts, and this makes for a beautiful dynamic of energy that's connecting people in so many different ways. And that's how we learn. That's the best way we can help one another, is by connecting at such deep levels. This is Dela Futui, the host of Dela's Voice, hoping to spark your soul.
Hello, happy Sunday. It is absolutely gorgeous here in Toronto, Canada. We have snow on the ground, even though spring is just about a week away, but the weather's changing. Things are rejuvenating. You can just see life being born. Welcome to this episode of Dela's Voice Sunday Live Talk Show. It is not a race, it's a journey. This is a story of recovery from life's most struggling adversities. Stay with me. We'll be right back.
Richard Cooks is author, entrepreneur, speaker, and mentor. Richard served the United States Army Special Forces and the Veterans Hospital for over 40 years. In 2016, Richard had 3 strokes from a tumor in his heart. As a result of severe brain damage, Richard experienced vision loss and speech impairment. Richard's story is one of recovery and hope. What does it take to survive? To look beyond adversity. To believe that it's not a race, it's a journey to succeed and achieve. His company, Pro Level Entertainment, mentors talent and models and those with disabilities. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome on Dela's Voice, Richard Cooks, author, mentor, entrepreneur.
Whoa! Richard Cooks, welcome on Dela's Voice. So nice to have you here.
Thank you.
It's wonderful to be able to speak to you today. As I played this little clip, I was thinking of everything that you've gone through, all those years of serving your country, and the experiences that you've had, the places that you've seen, the people that you have met, but the lives that you have touched. And so I'm so honored and so blessed to be able to speak to you today.
Thank you.
Richard, how do you feel now that you're sitting here talking about your journey?
Well, the journey's not done yet, actually, because my 3rd book's going to be coming out in regards to the continuation of the journey. It's going to be titled slightly different, but still going to be more defined based on the journey.
So this is going to be your third book.
Yeah.
Well, I only knew of one book.
Well,
I
I have
was I
the
once
one that,
was whole. I think
yeah,
that was the name of your book.
right,
Great
and then
title, by the way.
and the title currently right now, as you have mentioned on the broadcast, it's not a race; it's a journey to succeed and achieve. That's my second book going to be coming out sometime about April.
Perfect. But I want to go back to the title of your first book because I think, first of all, it's there's a big story behind that. I once was whole. Can you tell
Right.
us a little bit about that? What does that mean to you?
Well, the way that goes is I was whole. Why? I had cancer 2006. Then, shortly after the cancer, I was told I had a broken back and a broken neck. So all that ended up where I was whole. Now this one was where I've developed what people said with all this, you had that before. And they said, why don't you just stop? I can't stop. Why? Because it's not a race, it's a journey. Why? I don't give up. I don't quit. I try to succeed and achieve.
So uh, that's a lot. I mean, I had no idea about your cancer, and I had no idea about your broken back. Honestly, I mean,
And,
to me,
and broken neck.
2000s and
Broken neck too.
broken
Yeah.
neck. I mean, to me, knowing about your three strokes that rendered you um, impaired, you couldn't speak, your vision was affected, your mobility was affected. And I mean, all of that was enough for me to think, oh my gosh, like he's gone through so much. But you've been going through a lot. Um, wow, Richard. Okay, that's a surprise to me. I had no idea about this, but well, let's just take it one step at a time. First of all, I want to take a moment and welcome everybody who is watching us right now. And people are watching from all over the world, and I want to make sure that we say hello to them. And thank you for spending this hour with us. I always believe that you showing up for a talk or a topic, or to hear something, or to listen to somebody's story is not coincidental. There's always a reason behind everything. That's how I look at life. And if you're here, you're supposed to be hearing this. So pay attention to everything that you hear, and please share this talk with other people that might find it beneficial. It's not a race, it's a journey. This is the story of Richard Cooks, and a 40-year Army veteran who has been through a lot of struggles, it seems, but decided that he wants to take control of life and impact other people's lives, as you have been, Richard. So, okay. So let's rewind, shall we? Let's rewind. So you come out of the Army, and I mean, at some point you must be thinking, okay, whew, I'm tired. Like, I've served my country all these years. Now it's time for me to relax and enjoy my life. Did that go through your head at all?
I found myself to still need to do something to be more active.
Okay, so walk us through that. What happens after you serve your country for so long?
Well, I started working at the Veterans Hospital for about 7 years as the chief of payroll, working to help other employees of the Veterans Administration Affairs, uh, and working with helping them with their payrolls because that's what they were always seeking. And my position was as chief of payroll, so I had to help them amongst the staff that I have as well too to help them. So that's what I was doing there at the Veterans Hospital in that respect.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
And
helping them financially.
okay, okay. And well, let me ask you, what's the biggest struggle there? What do you think?
For as helping them with that.
No, what veterans in general, what's their biggest struggle?
Well, veterans in self struggles is a lot of areas that are multiple areas of struggles. I mean, from PTSD. PTSD sometimes leads to drug use, leads to other areas that can happen, which then cause them to be depressed, angry, and to lead to suicides. The veterans system has a lot of veterans who've had suicides because of that. And the thing is, um, I put my mindset long time ago not to have myself at any of those conditions, such as drug use, alcohol use, or smoking, which they're pretty much surprised because when I get various lab tests, they find that you have no smoking habits, you have no drug use, and you have other areas. Well, you should have never had a stroke. That's what they tell me because it's
Right?
usually that's all usually involved with people of those different categories.
Yeah.
No disrespects to them, but the point is that happens because there's a lot of other areas that cause you to be less motivated, and it helps you to use drugs instead of using some other positive method.
Mm-hmm. So here you are, this really healthy man. You have, you've never smoked, you have no bad habits, and then you become ill with cancer, right?
Right.
And so what are you telling yourself at that point?
Well, I sought out ways to get that resolved as best as I could, but I was a little bit more determined because I don't stand for one topic and accept it. I look for other approaches. And so other approaches, I had a person who is a doctor help me with what I need to do to have the cancer get resolved in that respect. So I had to do a little surgery, but had that surgery done. Uh, and in the same aspects with the broken neck, I had to go to VA hospital there in San Francisco to have neck surgery from Stanford surgeon. And so they did the neck surgery. So I don't have any problems with the neck causing me paralysis. So I had to do that. So there's other areas I had to keep seeking out. And again, I don't take one answer and give up on it and say, okay, that I'll just accept that and go. I look for other alternative answers so that way I find ways to get things resolved.
So while this was all going on, you had your company, right? This company that you help actors and talents.
Right. And
You mentor.
the point is, while I was in the hospital in 2016,
Oh, so
most
this
people,
this this is after you've started this
this,
company after. Okay.
this formed during that time while I was there. And then I had a nonprofit attorney help me with founding the programs, which you now know as our program of Pro Level Entertainment Foundation. But we started that now in that respects to cover everything that we just now covered in regards to actors, talent of all types, from comedians, actors, uh, fashion shows, things like that. We cover everything, and
Okay.
then including talent and models.
Okay. And so what got you started in that sort of business?
Well, I was working with talent and models even in Hawaii. We were not once known at that point in time as Trade One Success Productions. Why I named it that? Because everybody there in the islands were of various areas within the talent and model areas as well too. So I named it that. And then we also had the sub name of the models of tropical angels. And everything was all appropriate, that we always do things appropriate according to what we need to do. So even working with the young talent, no matter what their age was, I always had to advise them and have them let me know what is of an interest from some source. And so that way I can make sure everything's going to always be appropriate.
Okay. So you have this company already set up, and then so you go through, your illness with the cancer and your broken neck, and then in 2016, you find so there's a tumor in your heart.
Right.
So how did they discover this tumor in your heart?
Well, they was trying to figure out why I was having these strokes. So they had determined there was a blockage of the blood flow. So that blood flow was the ones triggering the strokes. So in 2016, February, I had a major stroke. Then shortly after that, I didn't know what was going on still because I was very new to understanding strokes. And then June 2016, third, actually, I had a massive stroke. And shortly after the massive stroke, sometime of the same time frame, June 3rd, I had a stroke that affected my eyes. So it caused me blindness in my left eye and blurred in my right eye.
That's so blindness in your left eye and blurry in your right eye.
Right.
So almost like your vision impaired.
Yes.
So, and what else happened?
Speaking wise, back in Hawaii, I was on the radio. And then currently in 2016, I couldn't speak. And the speech therapist said I was just babbling. She wasn't being disrespectful. She was explaining what I thought I was talking. I thought I was talking normally, but I wasn't talking normally. She said, "You're just babbling." So I've gone through a lot of speech therapy to get as far as possible before the pandemic. And then the pandemic happened. So I had to find another form of speech therapy, which I did a lot of cognitive areas because the brain damage too as well too affected my cognitive ability. So what I did is watch a lot of movies. I should know more about movies, but I just watched them. I enjoyed them. I didn't pay attention to who was the director, things like that, but I just watched the movies. So I watched.
Why was that helpful? Why did it say that was helpful?
Because at the very beginning, at that point in time of the pandemic, I was watching the movies, but what I would do was replay the words in my head and also speak after the actor, so that way I would get the wording correctly enough to get my words out right now. And also, I would watch TV shows like Family Feud, Price is Right, Let's Make a Deal. So I did those as well too to be able to get the various areas to speak again.
That's great. I mean, that's great practice, right? I think that's great practice. And I can see how even for people who are trying to learn, let's say English, for even watching a movie, that's helpful because you hear the right pronunciation and you can repeat it and you repeat it and you repeat it. And yeah, that's a great way to learn a language. So you found that you were learning things anew.
I'll say I was rebuilding the brain.
Yes.
And I had to do the same thing in regards to the physical side as well too.
And physically, because your mobility was also affected.
Yeah. My left side was extremely weak. To extremely weak that I went into physical therapy shortly after the strokes has happened for the recovery. And the left side was weak, including my left hand. My body itself too was all weak on the left side.
Mhm.
So I had a good talk with my neurologist, stroke doctor, and said it's the neurons. They have to find new pathways in the brain to create a new pathways because the old pathways are dead. So what I did is by working with the physical therapists, I had to work with those new pathways, but then I learned from what the doctor had said to find new pathways. So I'd done various things physically. What I mean by that, I got various types of tools that normally you're trying to strengthen your left hand with by squeezing them. I got those so that way I could get that a little squeeze balls that I could squeeze on as well too. Keep practicing squeezing, so that way the brain would remember what I'm doing at that point. Then for walking wise, I would walk very slowly in the very beginning. And that's just around where I'm at, walking very slowly. Then I started to pick up walking a little bit more longer distance. So I started walking in areas to where it would end up about 10,000 steps a day, which comes out to about 2.5 miles. I was doing that where I had various areas in that same respects of walking to the point now I am currently walking 13.5 miles a day.
Oh. Yeah, that's healthy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
When you had your strokes, Richard, what was the medical opinion? What did they say to you when that happened? Did they say take it easy, Richard? This this may stay with you for a while. What was the diagnosis?
To be honest with you, I don't have a full diagnosis from them yet as far as things like that, but I'll put it this way, the best way I can explain. Uh, in September 2020, I was just trying to rethink 2020, the stroke doctors had told me I was fully recovered because they had to analyze everything itself too and analyze it and diagnose. And they said everything you're doing is you're fully recovered. So I am fully recovered, but I don't stop there. Even though that's what they're saying, I don't stop there. Why? I look at everything that I still need to find out what's going on with the strokes, make sure I don't have any future strokes. So I'm doing everything weight wise, making sure I stabilize the weight because what had caused the tumor was a lot of packed cholesterol. Now they have determined that I was probably, because there are some cholesterols that cause, which they call it hereditary, which cause things like having strokes because of the clogging in the arteries. So the thing is, I had to reduce my cholesterol. I had to watch my blood pressure. They check it pretty much regularly enough, and it's normal. Then I had to make sure I watched my sugar intake uh, because I don't want to be even borderline diabetic, things like that. So I had to do everything healthy. I'm almost nearly a vegetarian, but I'm not close enough there yet. But I'm still working in that same aspects to eat healthy enough to where it doesn't cause any future strokes because of all those indicators.
Yes, and so you are proactive. So, do you think that perhaps the stress caused to you by all those years in service could have had something to do with the cholesterol? I'm just asking this because I've heard before that stress also causes cholesterol levels to go up.
Well, the army doctors told me before any of all this happened, my cholesterol was always high. They
Mm-hmm.
did. They told me that. But the thing
Mm-hmm.
is, they never said it would be related to stress or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
But they never recommend to any statins or anything else in that respect.
Mm-hmm.
If I would have had like a little bit more control ahead of time, such as having statins. Of course, now I also take a EpiPen injection twice a month. So I do that now, which has now lowered the cholesterol. But if I would have done all that way before then, I would have probably never had these strokes.
Yeah. We like to think that, don't we?
Yeah, right. But I'll put it this way: most doctors are not 100% perfect. They mean good, but they're not 100% perfect. So the thing is, you're not advised always on time to prevent things, but technology is getting better. So that way they
Yeah.
have more ways to determine what you
Well,
should do.
I don't think anyone is perfect.
Yeah.
We do the best we can.
Oh yeah.
But so I want to ask you, okay, so all these things have happened to you. And would you change anything in retrospect?
Actually, no. I think things are much better because the thing is, I can do things that I couldn't do before.
Like what,
For
Richard?
for example, I have been part of the Golden Age Games when I was there slightly before the pandemic. I went to Alaska where I participated. Now, as a stroke survivor, people are very weak. I participate in the 1600 power walk, which is a 1 mile. Uh, it's a power walk, but it's a 1 mile. It's not like a speed walk. It's nothing, but it's power enough, but it's still timed. And of course, there were other veterans who passed me on the track. But I figured this way: I'm going to keep going the way I'm going. I'm not looking for achieving other than myself way to prove that I can achieve things. And even though they passed me, I still came to the final end, which wasn't that much far. I wasn't that far. End up taking the seventh place ribbon.
Oh, that's all right. I'd
And
say that's all
and,
right, even though
and, and then physically,
it doesn't matter.
right? And physically, I did what's known as the VA throwdown in 2021.
So what's
Now that was
VA
something
down? Tell us about that.
veterans throwdown. Well, it's an exercise program, but it's a program which it should be part of the Olympics in the future or Paralympics because of the fact I'm still working on getting my strength back in that respect. So the thing is, it's various levels of exercises at various areas, including what I'll call what's known as burpees. Have you heard of that?
Oh yes, they're very
Yeah. So
difficult to
yeah.
do.
So I had to do that as well too. What happened is I ended up taking the silver medal last year, and then this year that we had similar series of exercises, but they still included the burpees. So the things I still had to do that. And then this year it turned out where I had to do uh, dips, various other type of exercise like
Yeah,
that too.
I those are all very difficult.
And I ended up taking the gold medal this time.
Oh man. Richard, I'm gonna ask you a question. You don't have to answer, but you can if you want. How old are you?
How do I look?
Oh man, don't say that. Don't do that to me. Don't do that to me.
uh, I'll put it this way: all that I'm doing, everything I'm doing, even at the age that I will reveal, I'm doing it at that age. Okay, I could say and run around and say I'm 55 years old. I'm not saying that because that's what I was years ago.
Mhm.
Now I'm going to be 65 in a couple of months.
Good for you. Good for you. So at the age of 65, you're doing things that you weren't able to do 10 years ago.
Mm, somewhat. I'll put it this way. Let me explain. In high school, I was a track runner and I could do sprints. Also, I was a cross country runner, so I can do distance running. So coming into the Army and staying for 33 years in the Army, I had to work with what I was doing because they also time you for a 2 minute run around the track for the 2 minutes for time for a test every time you have to do that. Usually about every 6 months throughout. So I had to do that every 6 months for about 33 years. And also, we had to do a lot of distance walking, distance running. So the thing is, I had all that already pre-programmed in my mind. I put it that way, because what we had to do in special forces, we had to work out a lot and do everything a lot, build up our strength and things like that. So the thing is, it still was stuck in my mind, even though the doctor said you have to reprogram the pathways, and that's what I had to work on. So I was able to get back to doing what I was doing way before the strokes ever happened.
Hmm. What would you say to someone who's watching this right now and they're going through something similar? Maybe they've had a stroke, or maybe they've had something debilitating, a surgery or an illness or cancer. What is the biggest message you want to give them?
But I would say this as well. Whatever is your condition, because conditions can be many, the thing is, find out from your doctors first what alternatives you need to do, and then work on those. Or you could get a second opinion. Why I say that is because I've given second opinions to, I look for second opinions, I should say, through other types of resources as well too, and that's how I was able to recover. That way, I cannot just dwell on one opinion and take it for that, and that's it. Look for other opinions, and sometimes get a second opinion, third opinion, continue until you get an opinion that works in the right direction for you.
Mm. If we're going to take a moment actually and take a look at the comments of, and then I think what we're going to do is we're going to see if anyone wants to call the show and speak to you directly
Okay.
if they have any questions.
All right.
Richard, you're a very strong person, and I think, I mean, your training in the Army, I would say, that has made you resilient, and you have a certain amount of perseverance in your character, I can tell. A lot of people would face an adversity and they would get stuck in it. And a lot of people give up on life. And like you said, they take, an opinion and they run with it. And they just give up. And so what do you say to that?
I would say never give up, never quit, because that's what I might do as well too. And I've got that stuck in my head because I've been practicing that ever since I was in high school. And I can go more details if you ever like.
Yeah, we would like. I know
Okay.
you're a motivational speaker, and I
Oh
know
yeah.
I know you like to inspire people and you like to motivate people.
So the thing is, in high school, I sought out various areas to participate with in various levels of groups and such things like that. For example, for a person, consider this. I haven't tried it yet since high school, but I was in the choir. I was a tenor, and I was a choir singing. Okay. Then later on, I have become more of a motivational speaker because I want people to be able to see what they can do by giving them a gift of what they can be able to receive for what I give them. So that's why I become a motivational speaker. And then, of course, the strokes happen over the years. So the strokes happen. So I'm trying to regain the way I can speak again. And let me know how I'm doing speaking, okay? Because that's what I'm trying to do. Let me know how I'm speaking, because the thing is,
I
it's
I
been
think
taking
I
me.
think you're pretty good.
Okay, that's the thing is I've been trying to get that way where I couldn't do that. So I'm trying to get back in the future in being more of a public motivational speaker again.
Great. Great. Okay, well, we've got lots of people watching, and there's lots of people who have left comments, and they're being inspired um, by your resilience and your story, Richard. Um, this is a very important talk. Because I know that I know personally a lot of people can live in victimhood for a very long time, and they give up on life, and you know, they just think, this is my my luck. This is my, right? Have you heard that before? This is my
Oh yeah,
luck. Yeah,
yeah.
this is my luck. I'm gonna have to live with this. You refused to do that. You refused to take that as that's it. You took this upon yourself to. I mean, you're doing all these amazing things with your, even with your vision being impaired. You told me you're blind. You were blind in your left eye and blurry in the right eye. Both my eyes work perfectly, and I don't know if I if I'm up to doing half the things you're doing. So how do you keep that? How do you keep that going? What's driving you? What is your driving force, Richard?
The driving force actually is to be able to show that it can be done. So, such as an example, I take the photos. Now, I got to say this itself too. I have great cameras. Those cameras, I'm trying to get to rebuild myself and redo those again with those cameras. The thing is, the camera lenses are too blurry for me now. Okay, so they're too blurry. I'm going to revamp things as well too, to where I can get them to work again, uh, to work with the blurriness. But they're the right lenses. I used them before the strokes ever happened, but now everything looks too blurry. So I'm going to get revamped and how to use them. What I've been doing is the current phone I have. It's a great company. I got the current phone. It's got the right areas to take photography. So pictures you've seen and shown, those are pictures I've done with the current phone.
You have a great perspective. I mean, I was looking at your photos, and that's the reason I used those photos in the slideshow, is because it's not, you don't just take a photo. You use special effects to make the photo look different than.
Yeah, I do artistic photography.
Yes, yes, you do. And so your vision impairment doesn't seem to hinder this. How does that work exactly? Because for a photographer to be able to capture something, I mean, you need to see it, don't you? You need to see it well, but it doesn't seem to really stop you.
I do things. For example, there was one of a flower that you have shown. Uh, that's of a flower, but if you look at that flower, it looks like there's a little bird inside it. But the thing is, that's why I make it more effective with what I'm doing in that respect. So it doesn't. Yeah, I'll put it this way: when I take a photo, when I see something to capture, but it's a calming effect. One of the things people who are stroke survivors or anybody has to find ways to keep themselves calm. Any type of area that gets them to their blood pressure goes up, hypertension, things like that, that's going to be causing some other type of condition. For example, it could cause a heart attack, could cause a stroke. The thing is, if you keep yourself calm, so I use my photography as a calming effect to keep my mental stability strong as well too. So that way it's not a negative stability. or instability because it's negative. I look at it being a strong stability of positiveness in that respect.
I think that's great. And for the people who are watching this, if I know that there are a few here who are stroke survivors. What is the way you deal with your stress? How do you keep yourself calm?
Well, to be honest with you, every time I go down for what's known as a stress test, what's known as uh, there's a few other type of testing that's done. They always find myself. Everything comes back like you're a very relaxed person. You have
Well,
no stress.
you look very relaxed, Richard.
Yeah,
I don't know
I,
what you were like
I don't
before, but
I don't get stressed.
you don't smile much, but you you
Yeah,
seem
the smile is part of the effective from the stroke. So I look like I'm mad or something like that. But it's just
but
because
you're
of
not mad.
but no, but it's that stroke. It's my speaking sounds like I'm mad sometimes. My speaking, I try to joke. It may come out like I sound like I'm mad or something like that. But the thing is, it's just what has made me be able to speak. But I take it as well too. I'm speaking, and the more I keep trying to speak and such like that, then I'm going to get my words out. But the aspect as well too, the facial expressions look like I have frowns. The thing is, that's because the strokes left me that way, but I still smile as best as I can. So,
I'm just joking with
I know,
you.
I know.
I'm just joking with you. Richard, what are some things that you used to take for granted that you don't anymore?
Well, taking for granted, there's a lot of things to take for granted, but I would say this, which I tell my talent as well. You're paid based on assignments from the client, but in some aspects, you have to take things pro bono, which means whatever the assignment is, like if it's a red carpet event, it should be pro bono. So always work on something that will help you. If you build up your avenue of assignments, eventually you have enough assignments that you have done. Well, then now you can say, okay, my expectation now is because I've got all this behind my belt, I should get paid for this one. So payment is not really something that should be uh, associated with that unless you have enough of a bio resume that shows you have enough experience. So the thing is, I do everything based on my experience, and somewhat I'm starting all over again. When I say starting all over again, this is starting all over again because I have to do things differently to become more independent. So it's not something that I should say, oh, I should get paid for this. No, I do things to get the experience so that way I can rebuild what I've gone through so that way I can pass it on and share it with other people. So keep in mind, it's not what you need to do. I need to get paid for this. No, do what you need to do to rebuild yourself.
Hmm. Um, in this journey, Richard, I know that you count on yourself a lot for resilience and perseverance and the strength that you have and just perspective and keeping positive and everything you're doing on your own to get through this journey, like you said, and building yourself up. But what are some um, what are some major things that have helped you along this journey too? What are, if you could pinpoint 2 to 3 things that have really helped you along this journey?
Well, I'll have to say this: family,
Mm.
friends. I mean, one of the negative things I was going through, and a friend of mine said, don't let that happen. You're a stroke survivor, as I'll put it this way. And I said, you've got more to do. Don't let that happen to you. Don't, because things were going to get me down. Like I said, in the very beginning, I had to reprogram the brain by friends who gave me more definition of what I need to do, family who have gone through their ways to help me with what I have to do. Like I said, I right now, because of my vision loss, I can't drive anymore, so I can't drive a car, things like that. So I have family take me to where I need to go. Like today, after I'm done here, later today, I'm going to head back to the Blind Rehab Center for more therapy training in what I need to do because I'm going to be back in on that area. And I start Monday morning, continue with the various areas I have to do for mobility, for computer, which is the dictation, things like that. So all that areas is what I have to do to become independent. Independent to the point that I can do things like I was before the strokes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
A little bit different, but before the strokes.
So you also have to be a little bit more humble, right?
Oh yeah,
Because there are things you can't. I mean, you need support, and I think for a lot of us too, especially if someone has been real independent, and I feel like um, sometimes our pride gets in the way of us asking for help, and we feel like, oh, we shouldn't ask for help, and that's a really bad place to be, because family is there and friends are there, and there's always people there to support us. We just have to ask,
right,
right? And
right.
so sometimes we just have to be humble and think it's okay, to ask for help,
Yeah, you
right?
always should ask for help. And but the thing is, if it's offered to you, I always look at it this way. If it's offered to you, there's certain situations that you shouldn't have to accept them and try to still be independent. For example, when I'm crossing the street with my cane, and a person will always ask me, "Can we help you cross the street?" I said, "No, I'm fine because I've got my cane. I'll be okay."
Mm-hmm.
Now, if I was more visually impaired and weaker from my strokes, then I might have them walk me across the street uh, because then I could control my balance. But I said, no, I'm fine like that. So that's as long as they can ask you, and if you accept it, then okay, you accept it. But the thing is, that's if you have extreme weaknesses from your strokes and you're using the cane to get around. And I have a CNI cane compared to a regular cane of a walking cane, so that's what I have at this point. And but I take that as kindness, and I thank him for that. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not there to say no, no, I don't want. I'm not going to be mad. I say, thank you, appreciate that, but I'm going to do it like
Mm-hmm.
that, so that way I walk the street. So the
Yes.
thing is, always look at whatever's offered as a possibility and quickly analyze it if it's something that you can do independently or if it's something you may need some help. And if you need some help, go ahead and take the help. If you request to help yourself, if something is going to go on, and then can you help me with this? The first thing I noticed that other stroke survivors have somewhat of negative things happening, and sometimes that could be something they're trying to understand. Sometimes the other persons don't understand. They actually had to be more re-educated if that's the case. If they don't understand from whoever is thinking. Sometimes I get contacts. Well, what do you do if uh, if this friend of mine thinks I'm just making this up? Well, they need to be re-educated.
Mm-hmm.
When I say re-educated, they need to understand what and hear it from a stroke doctor themselves, from having, of course, the person with them who had the stroke, hear it from the stroke doctor. Oh, this person is going through this and this and this, and these are the causes, because they won't understand. So what happens? They have to understand about aphasia, when they're having difficulty trying to get their words out, or they're having another condition called dysarthria. They have to know what those are. So what happens is they go they should be going to speech therapy with the person so they understand what the words are having trouble with. So that way they know, okay, he's having this aphasia. So that's why he can't get his words out properly. I have a good friend of mine. He has aphasia. His aphasia is kind of, I mean, it's to the point. He can't only describe what he's trying to say, but he can't actually say it. It's taken me 5 years to get this far to say what I'm saying.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Can't.
So they have to find out what they're going through first before they can actually
Yes.
make judgment.
Yes. And you're so right. And often, we'll see a person with disability, somewhere, and uh, I mean, I don't think. I want to say that most people are good at heart and they want to do what's right and what's best, and we want to serve. But again, I feel like we need more education around different disabilities, and really finding out what it is that people need. And so sometimes we're so afraid because we don't understand. You're so right. We're afraid to approach that person and say, if I see someone, struggling to walk, I want to be quick to jump and open the door for them or help them do something. What's the best way to approach this situation? So for me as a person, do I go and say, uh, can I help you? Like, is there anything I can help you with? Or do I just leave it alone? It's a really um it's not a very obvious situation. That's what I want to say, Richard. So what's
Yeah,
your
well,
best
if, if
suggestion?
somebody's requesting, oh, can I help you, sir? And just say politely, no, I'm okay. I'm very independent.
Hmm.
Like that. That way they'll understand that. But I thank you for it. I'm
Hmm.
very polite. And then if it's in a way that you're gonna, like for example, going to cross the street and you might have some trouble, then you might turn to somebody around you if there's somebody next to you and say, "Oh, can you kind of help me with this? All what I need to do is you can cross the street first." Also, with this, I've done this before because I can't see on my left eye, so I can't see out of my left eye in that respect. So I don't know what's on my left. Can you cross the street with me, and just let me know that everything's safe on the left side? Something like that.
Hmm.
Okay.
So it's
And
okay to ask, right,
yeah,
Richard?
right, right.
Okay. All right. So we're going to look at some comments here, Richard, if that's okay with you. There's lots of comments. Jeff, there's a Jeff here, Jeff Roberts. He had a stroke at 41. Um, in the face of adversity, he rose above. And he says, let's normalize recovery of all types: recovery from drugs, alcoholism, domestic violence, CSA, mental illness. The brain is fascinating. Positive self talk and intestinal fortitude. Gratitude. Um, all create wins. And these are some great, great words, Jeff. Any comment on this?
Oh yeah, that's the reason why the book is out, where it's not a race, it's a journey to succeed and achieve, because it's the same aspects. All those comments right there, which I appreciate, it's the same aspects to gear the mind to a positive level, so that way you can have a positive outcome.
Um, Chantel says, such an inspirational talk. Mohammed says, this is a cool, calm, and serene creating talk. And also, Jeff says, the race is long, and in the end, it's only with yourself. Enjoy the journey, enjoy every breath.
Now,
This
I
this Jeff
appreciate that.
guy, he is really good, eh?
I appreciate that because I also say this. I say this, that once you get to the end of the journey, the rewards will come to you because of that journey.
Okay, say that again.
Once you get to the end of the journey, the rewards will come to you from that journey. So you go on the journey, and then when you get to one stage or several stages, you're receiving the rewards. And I say that because I've experienced that. For example, as I've gone through this journey, I'm still doing things that I can physically do, so I get rewarded. When I say rewarded, I'm not looking for a monetary income. I'm looking for whatever I was able to achieve from that. So, like I told you before, I took the silver medal and the gold medal for physical endurance. I can do uh, the Golden Age Games and do that to do the 1600-meter power.
Oh no, we lost him. Technical difficulty, I'm sure. I'm sure he's going to join us in a moment. I want to thank every single one of you for being here. And let me go back to all the comments and read them. Thank you so much, everybody who's here. Vahan, Sharam, Deborah, Deborah Swayze is the reason why I met Richard Cooks, and she always introduces me to fantastic people who have had some amazing stories, and their journeys are so inspirational. And Richard is another one of those individuals. I've got Karen Durr here, and hello, thank you so much for being here. Lizzie T is here, and Erin is here. Jeff, thank you so much for the wonderful comments. And Farida is here as well. And so when we look at life sometimes, as we're struggling through this life, and all of us have had our own adversities, we're not comparing, we're not competing. I really believe that we go through our adversities based on what we can learn in that moment. That's my belief anyways. So sometimes we get stuck in that victimhood mentality, and we can live there for the rest of our lives. And we can think about why we're there, and what did I ever do to deserve this, and I'm a good person, this sort of thing shouldn't happen to me, what did I ever do to deserve this, and stay there and stay there and stay there and recount the same story over and over again, and live there for the rest of our lives and make that our entire story. I've met a lot of people on this show. I've interviewed hundreds of people, and every single one of those people, the ones that are able to speak to the camera about their journey with empowerment and strength, are the ones who have risen above those struggles, are the ones who have transcended those adversities and have learned something about themselves, and some of them have found their purpose through this struggle, and now they're using the same story to teach other people, to impact other people's lives. And I believe truly that there's so much power in that, in all of us sharing our stories, because it is in the sharing that we can uplift one another. If I go through something and I keep it to myself, I will not be able to help anyone. If you have gone through a struggle and you don't find it in your heart to share it with others, it's like that superhero who hides their superpower. It's no use to anyone. Oh, we've got Richard back. I'm going to bring him back on the screen. There we go, Richard. I don't know what happened.
Technology. It's technology.
Technology happened.
Yeah.
We love it. We love it because it allows us to do this, right?
Right.
But that's okay. Okay, so yeah, so you were in the middle of a sentence when you got dropped off, and I I forgot what you were saying. I think you were commenting on the comments that people had left.
Yeah, so
So
pretty much Jeff is in the same right track. So it's just always keeping things in a very positive way. I could get upset because of the technology, but I just did it to get back on and stuff like that, work it all out. I didn't get upset. So the thing is, that's what I have to do now instead of getting upset. Why? If I have got upset, then I'll have another stroke. I'm not going to go through that.
yeah, we don't want another
Yeah.
stroke.
So I had to learn those techniques. So being always positive, you find ways to get things done.
Yes, 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 yes. So, Richard, do you use any relaxation method other than you said you take pictures and that relaxes you?
Right.
Do you do anything else like a meditation exercise or anything like that to breathing exercise or anything like that? What are your thoughts on that?
I've done that as well, and some meditations as well. And all that is programming the mind to be on a very positive state of mind. I've done
How do
that.
you do that?
Well, the thing is, you go through various stages of breathing, such as they teach you how to do very deep breaths, slowly let them out, and do that about 5 times. That way, it calms your blood pressure down in that way. And then other areas as well too. And sometimes to have a mindset, to have a meditation type of area where you start to just kind of relax, and the therapist will help you go through relaxing techniques by kind of coaching you through those, and then you end up relaxing, which keeps everything in a positive sense. And that way you don't get angry, you don't get upset about things. You just do things in a way that all those techniques, you'll still stay positive. But how do you keep the mind positive is up to you after you've done those. Being positive continues. That's why you see me, and knowing my photography, I keep taking the pictures because everything is helping the mind to be a positive state instead of a negative state. So it's positive. I can do things and do creativeness with the art of the photography, and then that way a picture comes out and it has more positiveness to share with other people.
Yeah, and it has personality.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, I mean, people have different ways of expressing themselves, but I think creativity is in everybody, and being creative allows people to be in a more relaxed stage. Some people like to write, some people like to sing, some people like to play music, some draw, right? Some
Right.
paint, and so there's different ways we can be creative. Certainly, that's a great way of bringing relaxation into our lives. So I'm going to take a look at the rest of the comments, and then let's see what else we've got. Why get upset? It is what it is. Good on you, brother. Jeff said that. And mindfulness, I'm everyday life rocket. Positivity is a conscious choice. It sure is. It sure is. And I've got Ron Schroeder here as well. And I think he's left a Facebook group there for people to join. And Ahmed Shah Duranai, thank you so much for being here. And I've got my friend ID Irava from my friend from California. He says, I am 54 years old and still running around like a 20-year-old. Good for you. Yes, good for you. Good for you. And he said, keep the beacon of hope alive. Um, so hope is a big thing for me, Richard. I think hope is everything.
Hmm.
What role has hope played in your life?
Well, hope came to me in when I had my strokes. Why? Because I've already been through areas that could have been my roadblocks. And I had to also take that into effect too. Roadblocks. I looked at roadblocks, whatever was going on, I took them as roadblocks. Or I took them as a door closing or a door shut. But I had to open up those roadblocks and those doorways to do what I'm doing. So I don't look at anything in a way that's going to be detrimental. And I look at things to be safe. I look at things in a way that works out in the best way to possibly be able to do what I'm doing now.
Love it. And you did that.
Yes.
You opened those doors and you got rid of those roadblocks, because a lot of times those closed doors are right here in our own
Right.
mind, and those roadblocks are those self-talks that hinder us all the time.
Right.
You're so right. We have so much in our power, and there's so much also out of our control. If you've learned anything, Richard, about serenity, have you?
Serenity.
Yeah,
Yeah.
what does
Serenity.
that mean to you?
Serenity is a way of being peaceful in your mind. When you're peaceful in your mind, you're in serenity. So there's going to be just peaceful and mindful, where it's going to be just nothing that's going to be aggravating you, so that you'll be in a state of serenity
Are you in a state of serenity?
all the time.
That's good. So you won't have another stroke.
No.
That's it. That's all you need. That's all you need. Richard, what if I were to give you 2 more minutes, what could you add to your talk? I mean, you've already said so much and you've already given us so much.
You always look at it this way. Just keep always persevering. Don't give up on anything. Like I said, always in a nice way. If you need a second opinion on anything, always ask what the second opinion will be. Of course, it's going to be somebody that you can depend on to give you the right opinion. Sometimes unfortunately, there are some people that they say they're there to help you out. They're not there to help you out, because they're always looking for some other way to be able to circumvent it. So look for ways that could give you the right answers in the right way, so that way you can work yourself, whatever your situation is, whether it's situations from strokes or situations from any disability or situations who are not people with disabilities. That way, though, you want the right opinions to have the right guidance to get to where you want to be.
I was gonna say this is the last, but I just I gotta ask you this too. This just reminded me of personal responsibility. Because what you just said to me is taking personal responsibility
Right.
for our situation. And it's not so when I say that, a lot of people might think, well, it's not my responsibility that I had a stroke. It's not my responsibility that I became disabled. I don't think that's not what I mean. It's personal responsibility of saying, okay, this has happened, regardless of whatever. This has happened. How am I going to deal with this? This is my personal responsibility. So whether it's getting a second opinion or finding alternative ways to deal with this, or whatever it is I need to be doing, because this is my life and this is my personal responsibility. Any
Right.
thoughts on this?
Well, the thought about that, though, I would have to say this as well too, is you got to believe in yourself. If there's things that seem to be roadblocks, negativities, see it in a different way to believe in yourself. For example, I believed in myself ever since I was doing what I was doing a long time ago, before the strokes. So when the strokes happened, right away I had my mindset in believing myself. I could have just gave up and done whatever I did, but the thing is, I didn't stop because I believed in myself. So you got to believe in yourself first, and then start believing in others, and pay it forward, as that motto has been said, pay it forward. So I have helped others to believe in themselves as well too, in that way to do that.
That's what you do at
Yeah.
Pro Level Entertainment Foundation is you
Right,
help people believe in themselves,
right,
and reminding them that this is not a race, it's a journey to achieve and to succeed. So
correct.
thank you, Richard, for being here today. I really appreciated this conversation, Richard Cooks, and I'm so grateful that you decided to do what it is you do today, because you're helping a lot of people, and the books you're writing and the talks you're giving and being on podcasts like this, spreading your message of hope, and really letting people know that there is light at the end of the tunnel, that life doesn't end just because someone had a stroke or just because of a disability, that to you have to survive it to thrive
Right.
in life. And I so appreciate this message.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much.
Thank you very much.
And people can reach Richard Cooks and on his website prolevelentertainmentfoundation.org, which is, by the way, the sponsor of today's show. I thank you very much, Richard, for sponsoring Dela's Voice today. As we can always count on sponsors to keep this show going. So thank you so much. I'm very, very grateful for that.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
And for everyone who's been watching today, I want to thank every single one of you for giving us your hour. Your comments were truly appreciated. I am absolutely blessed by this platform, and the opportunity to bring you stories like Richard's is a pleasure that I keep very, very, very dear to my heart. Until next time, this was Dela's Voice, sparking your soul. Bye, Richard.
Bye now. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Dela's Voice has been brought to you by Pro Level Entertainment Foundation.